Swami Vishnu-devananda's The Advanced Teacher Trainer Course, ATTC, 1982, Part 1 of 4.
Hyper opposite to diabetes. Diabetes is inability to burn sugar by the asthma. The more sugar is there, more, and body is unable to use it. So it keeps on in the bloodstream, and then it's been thrown out through the urinary system. That's why you can find in the urine the loss of sugar, because body is not using it, thrown out. It's just like overflowing. Generally, in ordinary healthy state, the blood sugar in the liver and blood sugar in the sugar in your liver and in the blood are always equal, balanced. That's always same. So here now, so as the glycogen breaks down to lactic acid, additional energy is released. This energy is used for the reforming of organic phosphate from inorganic phosphate and organic compounds. Now, 1/5 of the lactic acid so produced is oxidized to carbon dioxide and water. So, 1/5 of the lactic acid now is changed into, by combining oxygen. When oxygen comes, it joined with oxidation. It becomes carbon dioxide and water. Carbon dioxide and water. At that time, energy is further. So, two ways. First, when the glycogen breaks down, it releases a certain amount of energy. That energy immediately converts the inorganic phosphate back into organic phosphate. Then rest of the 1/5 of the lactic acid after forming, that combines with the oxygen and then converts into carbon dioxide and water. So energy is again released for the muscle action. It's like the oxidation. So 1/5 of the lactic acid so produced is oxidized to carbon dioxide and water. Energy again being released. The last batch of energy is utilized in the reformation of glycogen from the remaining 4/5 of the lactic acid. The last batch of the energy is utilized in the reformation of glycogen from the remaining 4/5 of the 1/5 of the lactic acid combined with the oxygen and become carbon dioxide and water. Then you got 4/5 of the lactic acid, and that usually in the form of reformation of glycogen. Again, energy is released. Now we'll write that in a formula, so you'll be able to remember and I'll write the formula now for you. First process is organic phosphate. That is changed into energy to release to contact the muscles. We must make change into what way? By converting into inorganic phosphate and plus organic compounds. Because two things, this is converted into inorganic and organic compounds. Two things coming up. And energy is released. this is the thing used in contraction. Used in contraction of what? Of the muscle. So when organic phosphate is broken down into inorganic phosphate and organic compound, and that becomes plus energy, and that energy all used for contraction of your muscle. That's first reaction. Now, muscle cannot go on contract forever because of it only do for a short time. Then this must be changed back into organic state, and then fatigue will set in. So how to do? Now that is the next process. Inorganic phosphate plus organic compound, energy and inorganic. Now you take this one, inorganic phosphate. Inorganic phosphate plus what was there? The two things there, is it not? When it's broken up, organic compound is broken down into and plus organic, so that is plus organic compound. Yes. Plus energy. When this is again brought with energy, it is changed into what? It changed into what? Back into organic phosphate. Another example is, we take oxygen and throw out carbon dioxide. Plants take carbon dioxide and throw out oxygen. So energy coming for the plant, they use the carbon dioxide and combine with the energy coming from the sun, and they convert that into oxygen as well as sugar, starch, etc. for their, and we do the opposite to create the energy. So the world is nothing but a combination of cycles of energy. So we take and we release, and they take it and convert it. So this goes on forever and ever. Yes, what is it? Yeah, that's what you are coming to, and it's coming up. That lactic acid, 1/5 of the lactic acid, you'll be using it for that. I'm coming to that now. Okay, now I take this first off because I don't have much space to write, so I'm taking this off. You have written this one, is that for space? Okay. So when the glycogen breaks down, additional energy is released, glycogen, the sugar, and when that glycogen breaks down into what? Into glucose. The glycogen is in the liver. Sugar is in the blood, what you call glucose. And so, in order to change that glycogen into sugar, into glucose, energy is released. That first energy is used to convert the inorganic phosphate into organic phosphate and organic back into that. That's the first process here.
Swami, does the breakdown of the glycogen into glucose, does that occur entirely inside the liver?
It always, because as the blood sugar level goes down, the liver continuously changing that, so that blood sugar level will be always maintained in the same proportion as in the liver. Never the blood sugar level is allowed to go beyond certain. The same level must be maintained, otherwise you get hyperglycemia. You just
But does the glycogen break down inside of the liver, or does the liver let some of the glycogen go into the blood?
Liver does that. The liver is the only chemical factory who can do that.
Does it let glycogen flow into the bloodstream now, or is it broken down?
It's broken down, and then only it can flow. You see, if it's not broken down, it cannot. Because glycogen is a higher molecule, higher complicated molecule. Sugar is more easily dissolved in the. So if it cannot dissolve in the blood and go, so it must be converted into glucose. Simple example is that when you give intravenous injection for the people who cannot eat, etc., when they want energy, they give what injection they give? Glucose. You see, so that's called very simple sugar. It's a very simple molecule. You see, blood. And so when the glycogen breaks down into glucose, energy is released, and that energy is being used again to convert the into organic. You got that? Okay. Once the lactic acid is produced, its oxide to carbon dioxide and water, energy again is released. So 1/5 of the lactic acid formed during the process. Naturally, to turn into the energy has to. What is energy? Where comes from the energy? By changing the group, and the certain amount of energy is released by converting that also into lactic acid, and the two processes take place when the sugar metabolism changes. You see, one is lactic acid and glucose. Glucose, of course, now don't worry about glucose and glycose. One and the same thing now, because we don't want to just make a difference between glucose and, because the body changes into lactic acid and carbon dioxide. These are two things it happens. Carbon dioxide and lactic acid.
So that's produced by in the process of the glycogen.
The glycogen breaks down during the process. When they want to change into energy, to convert the inorganic phosphate back into organic phosphate, energy must be, and the energy coming from this process. The glycogen breaks down by combination and become lactic acid and carbon dioxide. So once the lactic acid does form plus carbon dioxide, O2. O2 is oxygen, becomes CO2, carbon dioxide plus SO2, H2O, that is water, and energy. So now 1/5 of the lactic acid is changed, which is converted. So this 1/5 of the lactic acid is so produced, so oxidized to carbon dioxide and water, energy again being released. Now the last batch is 4/5 of the lactic acid. 1/5 only use 4/5 of the lactic acid now plus energy. This energy coming from where? This energy, see? From here. This energy, the lactic acid, both lactic energy coming from here, that changes into glycogen back. So the process of the last batch of energy is utilized in the reformation of glycogen from the remaining 4/5 of the lactic acid. Remain the full reformation. So this way, the breakdown of organic phosphate must occur quite soon after muscle is stimulated, since the furnishes the energy for contraction. Again, the breakdown of organic phosphate must occur quite soon after muscle is stimulated, since it furnishes energy for contraction. You understand that?
Are you sure that
Just wait, I'll come to this question come up. Just let me, you'll be getting all the answers now. The breakdown of organic phosphate must occur quite soon after muscle is stimulated, since it furnishes energy for contraction. The remaining chemical process begins in the contraction period and runs through the and beyond the relaxation period into what is called the recovery period. I'll read again and take your answer. The breakdown of organic phosphate, the first contraction is done by energy is coming for contraction coming from organic phosphate change into inorganic phosphate and organic compound. Now the first energy. So the remaining chemical process begins in the contraction period and run through and beyond the relaxation period into what is called the recovery period. As you already know that the energy muscle can conduct without oxidation, is it not? The first contraction is not done because of oxygen. It is done because of change of the organic phosphate into inorganic phosphate. And then the rest of the process is done in the contraction period as well as on the recovery period, relaxation period, the chemical changes. That's the time all these things are taking place. In the contraction period, the oxidation is all these things, what we mentioned, is taking place. For the energy for the muscles come during these type changes. The first change is only very small duration. Then during the rest of the process takes place during this contracted state as well as relaxed state or recovery period. After a brief period, a small fraction of a second of activity, it takes at least a few minutes before the muscle is completely recovered. That returns to the original resting condition. What are the original resting conditions? It was not with inorganic phosphate, it was organic phosphate, just like in the original resting condition. So it takes few minutes to bring back the muscles into the original state. During this time, organic phosphate is reformed at the expense of glycogen, and glycogen reformed in turn at the expense of lactic acid and oxygen. So now, during this time, this is the time during the contraction period and recovery period, the organic phosphate is reformed. How it is reformed? Because it was inorganic. It was in contraction, it was inorganic phosphate. It is reformed by the process. Organic phosphate is reformed at the expense of glycogen, and that means the glycogen breaks down and then energy is released. And that energy is used to convert the so that is first step of the contracted state. Energy to get the active muscle, and then recovery period, further it goes on, and the glycogen reforms in turn at external the lactic acid is now turned into glycogen. So the process is reversed. Everything is reversed. That's all. If you cannot remember all the chemistry, because unless you are a good chemist, you may not get everything. Put this in your mind. Let's take a simple example. Energy must come by combining various changing into various molecules. When hydrogen oxygen is mixed, it becomes water. To combine the hydrogen oxygen, you need energy. Only merely bring hydrogen oxygen, it won't become water. It must be brought. So how do you convert that into water? Bring hydrogen oxygen near a fire energy, and then it will explode. and the components at that time become water droplets. The opposite is to release the oxygen hydrogen, then you use the electrode. You just pass an electricity and the hydrogen is separated from the oxygen. For in order to separate the hydrogen from the oxygen, you need energy. So also to combine the hydrogen and oxygen, you need also energy. So the energy you get is coming by either by combination of atoms or separation. So also your muscles are doing what? It is converting the energy into where the energy coming from. First, of course, it contracts by its own organic phosphate, that's natural. But that cannot go on forever. So then what does that? The body uses the sugar in your, forget about all the glycogen and so forth. Body uses the sugar to convert into, and so first the body uses that first portion of the 1/5 of the carbon, the breaking down sugar is converted into, it changes into lactic acid, just like oxygen and hydrogen become water. So the 1/5 of the lactic acid, when the glycogen changes into lactic acid, energy is released. That energy is used first to convert the inorganic phosphate back into organic. Then 4/5 of the lactic acid is again used to convert the back into, so energy is again released. Glycogen as well as carbon dioxide, you see. So what it's doing is, body is again and again finding a way to convert back into the original state. Then muscle is at rest. It has got back into the original state. Again the same process continues. Again the organic phosphate is converted into, and then blood sugar, the sugar changes into glycogen and carbon dioxide. 1/5 has been used to convert the inorganic phosphate back into organic phosphate, and again the 4/5 has been used to convert the rest of the back into glycogen and carbon dioxide. So this process goes on back and forth. Only this much only you have to remind. In order to release energy, sugar must be changed into lactic acid and carbon dioxide. And then reconverting back into the original state, you get energy. That's all the muscle metabolism you have to remember. You don't have to worry about too much about chemistry, and then you will never be able to finish this course. That's all the basic understanding of muscle metabolism. So when you are unable to convert the lactic acid back into glycogen, and what will happen? Muscle fatigue sets in. That's what happens. You go on, do this exercise 1, 2, 3, 4, 100, 200, 300, 350. What happens? Then we don't have sufficient oxygen to and so what will happen? That's what as the lactic acid, the purpose of the lactic acid is to bring fatigue. Unless you convert the lactic acid back into and carbon and exhale through carbon dioxide, must exhale. The carbon dioxide builds up inside too much. That's why you're breathing. When you are breathing after exercise, you're breathing deep to get rid of the carbon dioxide. Then only the recovery period takes, and that's called rest period. So there's a contraction and there is relaxation, rest period. This process goes on. And if the balance between the breaking down of glycogen into lactic acid and the reconverting of the lactic acid by oxidation is normal, then the muscle will never get tired. It will go on. That means the fuel consumption and intake of oxygen are normal. But if any one of these mechanisms is not there properly, then muscle fatigue will come because you are unable to convert the lactic acid back into glycogen. And so you rest until you breathe enough, and then become no more acidity in your muscle fibers. This much is sufficient just for you to get a simple understanding. Yeah, that's carbon dioxide is there. That's why you are stating that carbon dioxide must be stable. You are going out. time, organic phosphate is reformed at the expense of glycogen, and glycogen reformed in turn off at the expense of lactic acid and oxygen. And this does not mean that a muscle must be relaxed for minutes after each brief burst of activity. It can go on contracting until fatigue sets in. Fatigue is the result of the muscle's inability to get through oxygen to oxidize a sufficient amount of lactic acid formed. Write this way, that's all you have to remember. Fatigue is writing. Fatigue is the result of the muscle's inability to get enough oxygen to oxidize a sufficient amount of lactic acid formed. Fatigue is the result of the muscle's inability to get enough oxygen to oxidize a sufficient amount of lactic acid formed. Did you get that? Fatigue is the result of the muscle's inability to get enough oxygen to oxidize a sufficient amount of lactic acid formed. Where do you get the oxygen? Where do the oxygen you get it? By breathing. When too much lactic acid accumulates, the muscle becomes temporarily unable to contract. Its ability to contract is arrested. That is the function of the lactic acid. Why you get tired when you climb the mountain faster? Because too much lactic acid and you don't have sufficient oxygen to burn it up. So what do? Even if you don't want, you rest. During strenuous exercise, for instance, we are unable, even though respiration is deeper and faster, to breathe in sufficient oxygen to meet the muscular demand. That's like if you want to climb this hill, if you are climbing very slowly, you can reach the top. But if you all start running to the top, within you'll be able to run all the way to the top. You start. Because though we are breathing deeper and faster, still it's not sufficient oxygen to neutralize the lactic acid. So that's called oxygen death. So an oxygen debt is created. This is the difference between the amount of oxygen actually needed by the active muscles and what is actually received through your breathing. How much you breathe deep, you cannot get sufficient oxygen for that particular oxygen debt. Just like the bank balance. You got $50 in the savings and you use that, but you got $80 debt. So how much you are in debt? $30. And so the income is only $15. And still there will be $15 debt. That's what happens. That's why what's called fatigue. Thus, after the completion of the exercise, we continue to breathe deeper and faster than we do ordinarily at rest in order to repay the oxygen debt. So, after running up the mountain, you what do? That means all the time what you are doing, you are converting the lactic acid back to and carbon dioxide is you are throwing out. So you got trust now. Now you understand why yogic, this important, this point is, I am explaining why, what the difference between ordinary exercise and yogic exercise. In ordinary exercise, they do everything fast and muscles get fatigued. Yogic exercise, you contract, you relax. And during relaxation period, you are allowing the lactic acid form to change back. And then you are also breathing deep. If there is any oxygen that you can get it off. Even before the body demands the oxygen, you give sufficient oxygen, so there will be no oxygen that ever created during the asana. So that is the difference between ordinary, one of the major differences, ordinary exercise and yogic exercises. That's why this point is very important for you to understand. That's enough about muscle metabolism. You don't need any further. Only this much you understand. When your body is tired, lactic acid is formed, and you are unable to convert the lactic acid back into glycogen, and then you got problem. You got it? Thank you all. Second chapter, we start with the quotation from Master for sure ways for success in life and God realization. This chapter is dedicated to the students to train their mind to control their vrittis. The Master says, if you want to control the vrittis, chart out a program of life. What do you mean chart out a program of life? A routine. That means don't just waste your time aimlessly. Have a time for everything. And draw your spiritual routine. Stick to it systematically and regularly. So 5:30, if you are going to do your pranayama, don't do it 8:30. Apply yourself diligently. Waste not even a single precious moment. Life is short, time is fleeting. That tomorrow will never come. Now or never. You got it? D-I-N. Master speaking is D-I-N. Do it now. But some of the students, like the Durganji, they change that D-I-N into do it now. That is like D-I-N, D-I-N, D-I-N. Do it now, do it now, do it now. And then Durganji says, yes, I know Swami what D-I-N means. D-I-N, D-I-N, D-I-N. Do it never, do it never, do it never. No, don't change the meaning of D-I-N, okay? Now or never, stand up the firm resolve. I'll become a yogi in this very birth, this very moment. You repeat constant yoga sadhana or abhyasa. So really, if you are really very sincere in your practice and your mind is filled with vairagya or distraction and keen longing for liberation, you will reach the goal of perfection within 6 years. There is no doubt about this. Why 6 years? You can do even 6 minutes. In 6 seconds, you cannot do it. Anyhow, 6 years is not bad. Now, although Patanjali Maharishi is the author and compiler of Rajyoga Sutra, it is said, the Yatmavalkya Smriti, the Hiranyagarbha was the original teacher of yoga. Hiranyagarbha is the cosmic mind or cosmic intelligence, also called Brahman. It is the sum total of all the subtle bodies, the high state being through whom the Supreme Being projects the physical universe. There are 3 bodies, the astral, subtle body. The sum total of all the subtle bodies of the infinite number of universe and beings, that's called Hiranyagarbha. That is absolute pure intelligence. He is from the sum total of all subtle bodies, the highest created being, through whom the Supreme Being projects the physical universe. Patanjali, as a realized sage, whose intuitive abilities were developed to the highest degree, received the knowledge of yoga directly and wrote it down for the benefit of all mankind. All the great people, they receive the knowledge from within through the direct intuitive experience. In fact, no knowledge ever came from outside. When Einstein said E equal to mc squared, it came from where? From inside. So you look, all the great composers, they compose music from outside. They use a computer. They press the button and the computer will compose, isn't it? Well, Shakespeare wrote his play from there. So you look in whether artists, scientists, great people in all walks of life, all types of knowledge came from within. So it's nothing outside. So Patanjali got this great knowledge from Hiranyagar, but directly through intuitive experience. And he understood what the technique of mind and how to control the mind, how to control the vritti. So that's why he made the whole system into a systematic, practical way you can apply in your daily life. But the first chapter of Sutra explains the functions of the mind, yoga, chitta, virodha, you understood, and the various levels of samadhi, various types of samadhi. The following chapters are more concerned with the specific practices that lead to the supraconscious state. Patanjali covers all stages of yoga from the very basic to levels of practice that are beyond the comprehension of all but liberated stages and things. The last two chapters in particularly deal with the vast limb that is experienced after attaining samadhi. By reading through them, it is best to bear in mind that realization of the self is attained only after many lifetimes of striving for that goal. And as emphasized in the last page of this previous chapter, even the attainment of powers and experience of bliss during meditation are but stepping stones along the path, which are mere distractions. These siddhis and powers are distractions and seen in light of the ultimate end, merging with the divine. Chapter 2, Yoga Sadhana. Patanjali, second chapter, fourth practice of yoga or sadhana. Discuss Kriya Yoga, which is purification through discipline, study, and self-surrender. So the Kriya Yoga, perhaps some of you heard some of the techniques of Kriya Yoga by other things, but the true Kriya Yoga means it is the discipline through Raja Yoga, through this. It's called Kriya Yoga. It is purification with discipline, study, and self-surrender. It enumerates the 5 main afflictions or causes for human suffering and the method for eliminating them. Finally, to discuss the first 5 limbs of Raja Yoga. There are 8 limbs in the Raja Yoga. The first 5 limbs, Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, the foundation for meditation. So you cannot start meditation directly without having the proper foundation. And first of all, why you want to practice any form of yoga? Why you want to practice? Where is the Carnegie Hall? Where's the Carnegie Hall? Because you want to avoid pain, suffering. If there is pain, you avoid. There's any pain today when you sit here for next 10 hours? Then why are you sitting here? The outside pain is much worse than the pain what you get. Otherwise, man won't come from Israel all the way. If there is happiness in Israel, he would not have come for this horrible course. Is it not all the way he came? That means that outside the world becomes a desert for an advanced, evolved person. Sarvam dukkham vivekanaha. For a man of discrimination, this world becomes unbearable and painful. So he came, we all came here to find a way to escape the 5 types of afflictions, painful conditions created by various things. So yoga is the path by which you can remove your painful conditions. Now, what is Kriya Yoga? Here it is, the first aphorism, Sabas Swadhyaya Ishara Pradhanani Kriya Yoga. Sabas Swadhyaya Ishara Pradhanani Kriya Yoga. Austerity, self-study, and surrender to God constitute Kriya Yoga. That's the foundation, preparation. Austerity does not mean physical abuse or severe rigors. It refers to strict control of the senses in order to conserve energy for higher pursuits. When you observe silence, it is also called austerity because you are saving energy. Instead of entering into verbal diarrhea, you stop verbal diarrhea by medicine. What medicines are for verbal diarrhea? Mauna silence. Put a Scotch tape on your mouth. That's simple remedy. That way you save energy. Most of our energy is being wasted through thought and association with especially worldly people. They drain your energy tremendously. You spend half an hour with a worldly person who talks about, oh, she's having an affair with him, he's running away with that girl, and she's divorced, and she's having a new coat, and or Jack, she's going to have another baby, and that baby is not belong to her, and then do you understand that it's just that this type of gossip is just like putting a toothpick on someone's teeth, and then you smell it. Oh, it's smelling horrible. Yes, it's very horrible, he said. Why did you do that? That's what. It is just like putting a toothpick on another's teeth and then smelling it bad. That's what. When you talk about others' problems and others' gossip about everybody, you are just destroying your peace of mind, and there is no meaning at all. What way is it going to bring you peace? If she's having an affair with somebody, if she's running with somebody else, so what? That is their problem. You are not going to solve your problem by finding out the problem in someone else. So that only you are taking added the smell in your own mind. So mind your own business. Don't forget it. As the first and foremost thing to do, mind your own business. So austerity does not mean destroying the physical comfort and pain and create painful conditions to the body. That's not. To save the energy, so you can use that energy, the time and energy for your higher pursuit. So mauna, silence, fasting, it will save the energy by giving relaxation to your system, and then everything what will save the energy like asana, pranayama, these are all austerity only. So that's all will help you to save your energy and utilize the energy and sublimate the energy in the right direction. Austerity in the sense means fasting occasionally, rising early to meditate instead of sleeping late, and reducing certain physical comfort for the sake of greater control of mind. Study of the scriptures and other spiritual work keep the mind flowing in the said direction. That without the study of the scriptures, you got nowhere to turn to tell your mind which is the right path, and the teacher is not going to be always with you. So the books written by great masters like Swami Vishnu-devananda, that will be your guide. So whenever there's problem, open it. Read Gita, etc. These scriptures will help you to put you on the right direction. But don't read novels and romantic novels and books like that. In surrendering to God's will, one also surrenders the fruits of what performed. This leads to Karma Yoga, the path of self-study, which is also foundation for Raja Yoga too, in which one regards oneself as an instrument of God and serves humanity with no thought of either credit or blame. He does every action as a duty to God. As the first of the abortion in the second chapter. Second, Samadhi Bhavanarthaha Ekata Nukaranartha. It all alleviates affliction and brings about Samadhi. By following the three practices of Kriya Yoga, what are three parts of Kriya Yoga? Self-study and surrender means mentioned above. The student elements the source of his vows and eventually reaches the superconscious state, foundation. Avidya smitaragadveshadhi videshaha kleshaha. Ignorance, egoism, attraction and aversion, and fear of death are all afflictions which causes suffering. There are how many types of afflictions there? 5. These are the 5 afflictions which bring you pain, suffering. Ignorance. What is ignorance? Yeah, that means identifying with this body and seeing this world. This world is real, everything is real. This is ignorance. Egoism. I am great. Attraction for pleasures and aversion from unpleasant life. Unpleasant life, getting up at 5 o'clock is very pleasant or unpleasant? Unpleasant. That's called aversion. So you don't want to get up at. So I asked you to do pranayama at 5:30. So you said, oh, Swami Vishnu is not there. No one is going to find it out. So you did not. That's called aversion. That brings you later painful conditions. And then fear of death. Only yogis do not have the fear of death because they know there is no death at all. Just changing of attitude. So they got no fear. So these 5 afflictions you can remove by, these are the cause of pain by practice of yoga. Ignorance, avidya, is a lack of awareness of reality. It's identification with the temporal world rather than with the imperishable Atman of self. Egoism is I-ness and my-ness. It is the illusion that one person is different from another, bringing about a conflict. Ragadvesa, that is like and dislike or attraction and repulsion. Translate as like and dislike. When a person is swayed by feeling of attention and aversion, he is identified with the material world and taking himself for the pain of loss and disappointment. Fear of death or clinging to life is binding and stifling. Many who have been pronounced dead and were later revived have approached the experience of death as indescribably beautiful and peaceful. None can say when death will come. Fear of death is useless imagination, a waste of energy, and creates waves of pain which exists only in the mind. Because death is inevitable. Death is only for the body. The body has come from the matter, it must go back. So anyone who is afraid of dying is wasting his energy, and there is tremendous amount of pain. Yet death itself is not painful, birth is painful. You cried when you came, or you laughed? When you were born, did you cry or did you weep? Or did you laugh? Did you say, Mummy, I'm very happy to come? Every baby cried and protested. That, my God, I had to come back again. I had to start all over again. I had to start again the yoga teachers training course and advanced teachers, I had to start all over again. Again, I had to put my body into various types of pressures. I had to get up at 5 o'clock without cold water, hot water. And Swami, the lecture is boring and it's boring my ears. He's got no choice, and we also got no choice. And we had to find money for that, even for boarding the lectures, to get the lectures. So you think about all that. That's why the baby cries. Oh my God, I had to repeat everything what you did. So better don't come back again. Mother, make it last life. Okay. So there is no fear of death for a yogi. These are the 5 causes. Yoga removes these 5 afflictions. The 4th aphorism, avidya, kshetra, uttaresam, prasupta, tanu vichadnedaranam. Ignorance is the cause of the above mentioned afflictions which follows it, whether they be latent, weak, suppressed, or aggravated. The suffering which comes from egoism, attraction, and repulsion, and fear of all of them from the avidya or ignorance, regardless of the degree to which they manifest. At the root of the other obstacles, ignorance, the true nature of the self is identification with the body and mind. When avidya is replaced by enlightenment, all of the cause of pain automatically disappears. So by identifying with the self, all of the afflictions will automatically removed. Just like if there's darkness, to remove the darkness, what do? You bring a broom and sweep it out. You try, or bring some cleaner and clean it, the darkness, or bring some spick and span and spick and span, what do you call it? Spick and span. You put spick and span to remove the darkness, or put what, whitewash, or what is it, the best detergent? You use it? Tide, yeah. And maybe cold water cleaning? Yeah. So what do you use? What type of cleaning you use to remove the darkness? Just light and light. You don't have to do anything. The darkness vanishes. So the moment you realize that there is no death or pain for you, you are the immortal self, all other afflictions will automatically disappear. That's the only way, no other way. By having money, millions of dollars, can you remove that painful condition? All afflictions you can remove by money, by education, by wife, by husband, by children, by friends. Anyone can remove this affliction? Only the realization. 5. Anitya suji dukkhanatmasu nitya suji dudhatmakyadi ravidya. Ignorance mistakes the perishable, impure, painful, and non-self to be eternal, pure, good, and self. That's called ignorance. Now here is discussion of what is ignorance. You must by heart this. Ignorance mistakes the perishable, impure, and painful, and non-self for the eternal, pure, good, and self. Perishable. What is perishable? Your body is impure. You need lot of deodorant and channel 5. Is it not? So that's why it is very impure. You practice Nedi, Dauti, Bhakti because if it's clean, you don't have to practice all those things, you know. You practice all those kriyas because it is impure. That's it. And then painful. Is it not? Body is painful or very peaceful? Just see, you ask your body, he will tell you. And non-self for the eternal. What's the non-self? The body for the eternal self, and pure and good and so this is called ignorance. When in a state of ignorance, man mistakes what is mundane or what is supreme. They cannot differentiate between that which will bring pain, that mind and body, and that which will bring immortality. Identifying the self, the subject, the Purusha, will bring immortality and painless state. Identifying with this principle of the thing, it is real and permanent, brings pain. Didarshana Satyeo Rekatvateva Smitam. Egoism is the identification of the seer with the instrument of seeing. That's the definition of egoism. Underline that, you understand that too. Egoism is the identification of the seer with the instrument of seeing. What is the instrument of seeing? Instrument of seeing? Instrument of seeing? Body and mind. All the mind and body. That's instrument. This body is the instrument of perception. I use it for seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, touching, walking, moving. So this is the instrument. And the seer is, who is the seer? Self. And then what the egoism is? That seer is, you think this body is the seer. So, Swami Vishnu must have a special throne. Because I am bigger than. You understand that? So I see myself as Swami Vishnu and identifying with this. So I need a throne. I need so many things to make my egoism great. So I put on flowers, I put on garlands and malas and robes, and so that is called egoism. You got it? Do you have it, egoism? Who hasn't got it? Show the hand, please. He is the buffalo. The instrument of seeing in this case refers not only to the eyes but also to the sense, all the senses. Egoism is manifest that the individual cannot distinguish himself, the big self, from his senses and mind. He sees himself as separate from the rest of mankind. Reaction to others is a sense of competition rather than cooperation. When egoism is there, you compete you don't cooperate. So we fight and destroy the world. Sukhanitayi ragaha. Now, attraction and repulsion. There are two currents. These two currents are attraction and are love and hate. If you love somebody, you hate somebody. That's the two currents always. And the love changes into hate and hate changes into, it has got no meaning from the higher point of view. One is as bad as the other. Both are currents. Now, the water you drink will bring you what? It quenches the, and then when it doesn't get out, it brings pain. Your bladder is blocked and you cannot get it out, that water, then you suffer. Same water makes you happy and the same water makes you suffer and even bring you dirty one. So, also attract love and hate. The same thing, today the same person is, I love you honey, tomorrow go to hell honey. And today I want to sacrifice everything, tomorrow I want to sacrifice her. That's all. Today you say, oh, I love you honey, I will sacrifice everything for you. And next day, or the honeymoon is over, you want to sacrifice her. It happens so many times, so many places. So, love and attraction. So, he is giving what is attraction? Attraction is that which dwells on pleasure. That's the seventh of origin. Most things of attraction and pleasure are positive things. But when associated with objects of the material world, they inevitably bring pain. Nothing in the physical world is permanent, and the constant fear of loss and loss itself keeps those seeking pleasure in an unhappy state. This is why the yogi learns to cultivate a dislike for worldly pleasures. You remember one of the Hatha Yoga, the seven Bhumiga, the first Bhumiga, what is called? Subhecha. What do you mean Subhecha means? And what is the qualification? One who? Pardon? Okay, so Subhecha means he is never disappointed or unhappy. The result, ironically, is that by not seeking pleasures, he is always happy. If I want to get happiness through a cigarette, first of all, I need cigarette. And if I didn't have it, first of all, I'm unhappy. Then next, how am I unhappy? Okay, I don't have cigarette, I'm just unhappy. That's all you do. What do? You want to get it. So, you are not allowed to do here. So, you went to open your glove compartment. And you didn't find there because all empty. Then what? You started the car to go to St. Gas to buy the cigarette. So, that's painful too. You had to have gas and you need money and you had to drive. And then you started the car, battery is dead. So, you are happy or unhappy? Unhappy. So, what do? You call a taxi. A taxi came where? Take me to St. Gas. So where to St. Gas? Tobacco shop. You went there and it was closed. Now you are happy and you are going to keep quiet. Then come on, drive me to Montreal airport. Because everything before by airport won't be closed. But when we went there, airport, there was a big strike. So all the shops were closed. Then where? Come back to yoga camp. Now go to London, because the time is right there, it's open, daytime, or Germany, Munich. So, you fly there, is it not? It may be a little exaggerated, but that is it. But that is the truth, is it not? When your desire is so intense, you think you are going to get pleasure from that cigarette, but what are you getting? All the time pain. So also, you saw a girl, you fell in love, honey, I love you. Now you think your happiness is depending upon if I won't marry me, I am going to kill myself. Okay, how much you got? Couple of million. Well, I love you too. Because she is married because she can also get money and happiness. Huh? Minkos, that's right. So, but the same person you love, you marry, will be one day possible. There's a chance will put poison in your food. Or just like the New York lady who is still in the coma with insulin shock. That is the name of one German who gave the insulin to his. You don't know the story? Huh? One ruler, he gave extra insulin to his wife to put her into shock and then killed her. But instead of dying, she became into a coma, and she's lying like a vegetable since then. And he was arrested and then found that he used things, and then he was sent to prison for several years now. So the very wife, he wants to take away. You said you married for happiness, but now you said you find that living with her is not happiness. It becomes unbearable, so kill. So that's all is life. Attraction and repulsion. So you are attracted to object which is present, but the very idea that you are going to get pleasure from this object will bring you pain. But people don't have the discrimination, so they lose. Otherwise, the person, why he is going to get drunk? If he has got discrimination, will he spoil that body? If he has discrimination, he will smoke and destroy his health. So that is called. So the very idea that you can get happiness by champagne or by smoke, etc., is unreasonable and brings painful condition, and eventually you get cancer, blood pressure, heart trouble, and so on. So the result, ironically, is that by not seeking pleasure, he is always happy. You are not seeking any pleasure here. You did not come for any pleasure seeking to this yoga camp. But are you happy? Please be honest. Are you happy? Swami Neelakandananji, are you happy on the corner? Just say yes. Yes. That is like putting a gun on the back. Come on. He says that he loves me. Well, anyhow, if there is no happiness, you won't be here. Even if physically it is painful, the back is breaking, but still it is better than sitting in a hospital. If you are not sitting here, you will be sitting in outpost of an emergency ward of a hospital to get attention from a doctor. Pardon? What's that? No, that's attention from the nurse. And I'll give a small story about. I was once a long time ago in Hollywood, Florida for a lecture. I was staying in a motel, it's very hot. Lecture is at 8 o'clock. I said, before lecture, I must cool off myself, it's very hot. So I jumped into the swimming pool of the motel. And it was full of chlorine. And I dived after something. When I got up from that, my eyes were red and itching and painful. With a red, itchy eye, I don't want to go to your lecture hall. So I called the downstairs, if there's any local doctor who can give me. My eyes are itching and very painful because of the chlorine in your food. So she gave me a number. I called and got an appointment. So I told I must be there because 8 o'clock I had lecture. I will be there by 7 o'clock. Everything, all the appointments I got, and I got in a taxi and rushed. So I'll be able to get the proper treatment for the itchy red eye. And I didn't know that I was going to a hospital. The doctor was in the hospital. That's what. So I thought I went to private studio from private doctor. And so as soon as I came there, about 100 people there waiting. And the nurse gave me attention of the nurse. If I another patient, so she asked me to politely ask to sit, and then politely brought lots of papers to fill up. I said, what is this papers? Do you have any Blue Cross? I said, I don't have any Blue Cross. You know what's Blue Cross? Insurance. I don't have insurance. But how can you, but I'll take cash. But you need Blue Cross, first of all. Secondly, you have to fill up this form. So I looked, there's about 8 pages or 9 pages you have to fill up. And all letters are very small. Already I see eyes, red eyes, and I had to fill with the red eyes, the small script. I couldn't even read it properly. And I said, I got an appointment 7 o'clock, but we had to wait. You are online, 100 people there. But I have got a lecture. Makes no difference. Please fill up the form. Just relax. Everything is going to be all right. Very good attention I got. So what I did, I just stored the form and then just came back and applied some cold water, cold pack, and then myself cured and then went to. It's a story of, you know that the moment you go to the hospital and become the patient, they think that you are one among the thousands of people who are going to die, and you become a part of their system, so they can make money through your foolishness. Never just do that. It's fine. So the painful condition is that, or painful condition is here. Because why did you get all those pains, arthritis and heart problem, blood pressure, etc.? You thought that by eating steak you can get all this, so you hardened your arteries. By drinking all the champagne, you thought you are going to be happy. So what, you got liver problem. And taking all those big cigarettes, thin size cigarettes, and it breaks down always. One cigarette always breaks down because it's too long. But just cigarette. It always breaks down. And the Coca-Cola is the real thing. Don't drink any pure water at all. Pure water is dangerous to your health. But Coca-Cola is the real thing. And such is the thing. And when you do all these wrong things for attaining happiness, but what you get is pain. But here, you don't drink the Coca-Cola or champagne, but you also don't take any sleeping pills, pepper pills, nor any tranquilizers. You want any sleeping pills to go to bed? Here, who wants a sleeping pill? Otherwise, one man said, Swami, teach me how to sleep. I'll give you any amount of money for you. See, here you got no problem, isn't it? So everything comes to you. So there is happiness. It is not scratching. It is real. Your happiness is not a burst like a balloon. It is real. What you find the inner strength and the peace through your discipline. That's what Patanjali says. That is real and permanent and no reaction afterwards. So that is called the difference between pleasure. So attractions to pleasure. It brings pain. Then what is aversion? Dukkhānusayi dvesaha. Aversion is that which attempts to avoid pain. Just as attraction brings pain, so does aversion. The mental attitude of aversion is a negative one and often makes a neutral situation appear as if it were once to be avoided. It is not possible to avoid all distasteful circumstances. When there is raga dvesa or like and dislike, a person cannot be happy. To live on illusory pairs of opposites rather than learning to be content in all situations and surrendering to the Lord, plain for its growth. Now, we try to avoid anything unpleasant things. But first the pleasant things, you think you are going to bring happiness, but it brings you only pain. Now what is aversion? Aversion is that whatever you think from your habit, the habit is getting up at 7 o'clock. So when you want to get up at 5:30, it is painful. So you want to avoid. So if there is a bed with a hard mattress, then you want a soft mattress. If there is a chair which is not so comfortable, so you avoid that and put a, and then you take anything but painful experience to what? Painful to what? To your, painful to what? Find to your senses and mind. The same object sitting here may be painful for you, but you can say, but others, even if you pay $100, ask them to see Swami Vishnu's 5 hours lecture. I'll give you $100. You just go and tell the person in the pub, you get $100 if you hear Swami Vishnu's lecture for 6 hours. What do you say? Get lost. So he doesn't want that type of sitting here in this hard floor, which has got no meaning to him. He prefers on that smoke-filled room, full of burning eyes, but he thinks the burning eye is very pleasant. That smoke-filled room is very pleasant. And that, what do you call that? Glass. Champagne glass. When you look at that sparkle, you think, it is plus happiness. So this is what you negate any unpleasant thing. It is not your silent. You think by negating these painful experiences, you think you are going to be happy. But what are you getting? When you sleep this time, 10 o'clock, you are happy. Then you have to go to bed next day. It's only till you are going to bed.